Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, we are recapping the week's nerdy news from Coruscant to Wayne Manor and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me is always Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, I don't know. We were just talking before the pod that it's been a lifetime since you and I have talked over a computer, it seems.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks since we've done an actual normal, you and I are sitting in our basements talking to each other over Discord. 3?
Yeah, because we had 2 episodes in between. Last week was AnchorCon, and then the week before I did the D23 recap with Beseda, and then it was another week before that. So, we're back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, feels like, and we were just saying before we started that it feels like forever. It feels like AnchorCon was a month ago. It was last weekend.
Yes.
That's wild to me. Wild. My summer's been crazy.
Things have happened.
But we had a great time at AnchorCon, didn't we, Steve?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you can listen to a live episode that we tried to do on the floor while people were still coming up and asking me about comics and talking to us and distracting us. So we got some good stuff in there, I think. And some interviews with some folks that were at the con about their opinions on nerdy things. We also talked about what we thought of Alien Romulus, which was a movie that Steve and I saw together. I still haven't posted that photo. Damn. I got Steve wanted to take a selfie of us before the movie started just for social media purposes. And it didn't come out great.
No,
but we were going to use it anyway. Great. I just forgot to post it. Yeah. So we'll have to do that.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, the movie was awesome. So go listen to a more in-depth recap. Then it was awesome if you would like to.
It's awesome. It's a little I've been hearing people complain that it's a little fan servicey, and you know what, it is a little fan servicey.
It's an alien movie,
but it's an alien movie. Like it's not as much fan servicey as it is like kind of playing the hits in a way where you get a great chest burster and you get a great bunch of face huggers, and like you get the stuff that you want to get from an alien movie, which we maybe haven't seen in alien movies recently. Prometheus, I'm looking at you.
But it's
I did.
It's like think about Force Awakens. You effectively had a lot of fan service. You had a plot that was relatively around the course of the original movie.
Yeah.
And much like Romulus is doing with this, but
still also pushed its
right. It took that and expanded on it. It wasn't just a note for note rehash of the original Alien.
It pushed its characters forward, pushed the universe forward, pushed the storyline forward, and that's what this movie did, I think, as well. Especially, holy shit, in that last 20 to 30 minutes where both Steve and I were leaning forward in our seats. Couldn't believe what we were seeing.
Right.
So if you like Alien and you like horror movies, you should go see Alien Romulus. It's doing pretty well. I think it's
like
made over 200 million worldwide. I think, it's at like 70 or 80 domestic.
This is the summer of R-rated movies.
Yeah, summer of horror for me, man. Because specifically R-rated movies. Yeah, Disney's got like the top 2 movies at the box office, and they're both R-rated, which I think is really funny.
Insane.
Anyway, Alien's great. This podcast is sponsored by Funkytown Comics in Camillus, New York. Check them out for all your comics and funk needs. We also have a Patreon that you could subscribe to, and you can hear us talk more. Do you like hearing us talk? You could hear us talk more in what we talk about before the podcast, what we talk about after the podcast, because we shut the microphones off, but we still talk about our lives for sometimes a good half hour. Bonus content, film commentaries, things like that you can get if you sign up at our Patreon. So please do that. It's right there. It's waiting for you. And we're gonna start off. We got some big stuff to talk about tonight. We're hitting all 3 major nerdy fandoms. arguably there's others that are as big, but we're doing Star Wars stuff. We got some DC things to talk about, and we got some Marvel stuff to talk about, and talk comics and everything, blah, 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 blah. Starting off with what I believe to be a huge bummer of news. Has been reported by Deadline that Star Wars The Acolyte has been canceled by Lucasfilm and will not receive a season 2. This is coming on the heels of reports of a writer's room being assembled, writers being hired, Manny Jacinto appearing at D23, talking about how much he loved the character and wanting to move forward with it. So it was, I think it was a surprise to a lot of people, let alone the fans that really like the show.
Now, there is a point of order.
Point of order.
It has not been canceled. It was reported that that they will not be currently pursuing season 2. There was no definitive this is off the table ever moving forward or anything. It was strictly like the reports basically said that they're not moving forward with it right now.
Right. And I believe there's been no official confirmation from Lucasfilm.
Not that I've seen.
That it's quote unquote canceled that I've seen. Which I think is interesting because it's been a week. It was about a week ago that this news broke. And it's not an official Lucasfilm source. It was just unnamed sources reportedly telling Deadline that it was canceled. No reason was given for it being canceled, but reports on the viewership being lower than other Star Wars shows, and also, when you have a lower and a below average viewership for a show that costs as much as a show like The Acolyte costs, then that's a business decision.
Now I have a rebuttal.
Another
to that.
point of okay, rebuttal. Hit me, Steve. I love a rebuttal
Because everybody's been saying that The Acolyte cost $50 million less than Andor and had approximately the same viewership, and yet Andor immediately got greenlit for a season 2. Now, is that a function of Tony Gilroy having a little more cachet in the production verse, or like
I don't know
why? Why is that a thing?
Well, I read reports that Andor's viewership sagged at first, but then ended up picking up, whereas Acolyte sagged and stayed saggy until just like the finale kind of kicked up at the end. But that Andor actually did do well. All this to say that a lot of people that didn't like the show are saying, "Oh yeah, it was a bad show. The writing was bad." Steve, I don't get the bad writing thing. I'm just a different person, I guess. But like so many people, you maybe included, were just like, the writing wasn't that great. I never really had a problem with the writing. I guess maybe I've watched shows with way worse writing. So this one was like, this is
True.
fine. So I never really saw it as being a problem. And of course, all the toxic Star Wars fans are, dancing in the streets with celebrations saying that, well, yeah, they made a woke show and they cast women and, people. So of course it got canceled because it was terrible. And also I got to say, I know some people who I've talked to or either read people online, people that have not experienced the toxic side of the Star Wars fandom, kind of not completely shoving that to the side as being a problem, but just brushing it off, kind of oh, well, I don't really know about that. I don't really see that. So all I can talk about is okay, that's great. But take it from two people that have been yelled at and insulted on a very minor level about our opinions on Star Wars online. Those trolls are out there. Those people are out there. And, whether, you can't necessarily say that they had a hand in the cancellation. Of course, I'm sure that a lot of them are probably taking credit for getting the show canceled or whatever. You can't draw a one-to-one line on these toxic idiots are the ones that got the show canceled, or their outcry sparked enough of some kind of dialogue or rumors that the show was bad, so people didn't watch it or whatever. You can't draw that line, but you also can't say that it wasn't a possibility. that they
Yeah.
played a role in it, I think.
Now,
So not for nothing, just wanted to bring that up. But my guess is that it was probably viewership meets budgets in a non-complimentary way.
well, and I guess the other thing too is, we've heard that Disney's trying to move away from Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And is this a
Yeah.
function
And
of
spend less money.
that combination of things where, maybe we do see Jacinto's character picked up in a spin-off movie or in some other form or fashion? Like,
Well, that's the thing. It's also a possibility. One, yeah, I am sure we'll see some of these characters again.
Yeah.
In something else, because Star Wars loves doing that.
Yeah.
You know, they love a reveal of a character you haven't seen in 2 years. 2 years. Who am I? 2 years.
well, nowadays, that
What am I? No one sees anybody in 2 years anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
You gotta wait 5 to 10 to see a recurring character in the MCU nowadays. Back in my day, we saw Robert Downey Jr. every second movie.
Well, we're going to again, so
We're going to again.
Yeah.
That was just my old man rant about cameos.
thank you for yelling at the cloud.
Yeah. No, Star Wars loves to, let people forget about somebody and then be like, oh, here they are 10 years later in a movie. So I'd be shocked if we never saw these characters again in any way. Or this is what I thought this too. I think this is a very unlikely possibility, but a lot of times shows like to retitle another season in order to
Yeah.
renegotiate contracts, or not even for that, just because it's going to be called a different thing, because it's going to be a different thing. Like Tales of the Jedi was season 1, and the next season was called Tales of the Empire. They made it a different show.
Yeah.
So maybe they are moving forward with some incarnation of these characters. It's just not going to be called the Acolyte. So, quote unquote, the Acolyte is not moving forward, but we're going to see the Manny Jacinto show or whatever as he's training Osha or something. Who knows? Again, I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I do think we'll see these characters again, and I think it is a huge bummer that the show is canceled, because I really liked it a lot. Especially the lightsaber fighting, I thought was top tier.
Oh, it was the best lightsaber choreography we've seen in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I will stand by that.
I agree. And again, it's just like a bummer. It's a bummer that this is unintentionally feeding into the toxic side of the fandom. And will probably only make them louder the next time they don't like something, which will probably be Skeleton Crew in December.
Another show you and I are quite excited about after watching.
Quite
the
excited
trailer.
about. I showed the trailer to my son today, and before the trailer was even over, he turned to me and said, I really like this. Like, it's kids. It's like, it's not only is it kids, it's normal kids. It's like normal, living in the Star Wars suburbs, going to space school kids, riding a bus.
Space School.
So anyway, my son's really excited. I'm excited for it too.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, I can't wait to argue with people online about it being good or for kids or not for kids or whatever they're gonna be mad about. There's also been a big push online.
They're going to
for
be mad
fans
about
to-
everything. They're
Everything.
always mad about everything.
anything they can think of to be mad about. Should be noted, there's also a big push on line and social medias and stuff to renew the Acolyte, to save the Acolyte. There's some change.org petition that's going around that's gotten tons of signatures. I am pretty sure that no change.org petition has ever changed anything in the history of ever.
That's anybody who's
But-
watching the video. If you saw my head shake when Mike said change.org, that would be exactly why.
Yeah. So, hey, by all means, sign it if you want to sign it, if you want to feel like you're doing something great. I don't think for 1 second that Bob Iger is going to care about a change.org position when it comes to the money that Disney is spending on TV shows. So do with that what you will, but, throw a hashtag up there. Or, you know what? Watch the show. Turn the show on, Disney Plus, hit play, and then go to bed or whatever. Just let it play through all the episodes. Get the numbers up there. Do something if you want to try to do something, but change.org isn't going to do it. I don't think. So I'm bummed. I'm sad about the Acolyte being canceled.
Same.
What I'm not bummed about is the fact that somebody somewhere is working on a sequel to The Batman.
And we know who that somebody is.
I sure do. A guy named Matt Reeves.
Mm.
And his co-writer, Mattson Tomlin, who was an uncredited writer on The Batman, as official co-writer on Batman Part 2. Sorry, The Batman Part 2. Can't forget that, the. We got an update.
So wait, this is Matt Reeves and his son? Or are we not going? We're not going by Norse naming conventions here.
Oh no, we're not going by Norse.
Son of Matt.
That's funny. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't think so.
That's just he goes. It's his. It's his son, and he goes by the pen name Mattson Tomlin.
Matt's son. Yeah. I'm excited when I get any update about this movie because we never get them. Which reminds me of the first time I was waiting for Matt Reeves to make a Batman movie, and there was just no updates ever, forever. And then suddenly there was a movie. It's great. So I'm hoping the result is similar to this process where the movie that is released is great. Anyway, I'm rambling. Mattson Tomlin gave a quote recently in an interview this week, say that the Batman will start shooting next year, the Batman Part 2. Start shooting next year. We're gearing up, and I will say that the bar just couldn't be higher. It's the sequel to the first one, but also Matt Reeves is like no other. In the 5 years now that I've been working with him as closely as I have, I've tried to absorb as much as humanly possible from him, and I'm so grateful for the time that I get to spend with him because he is a true artist who is trying to make something that really matters. So to be able to just be on the ride and part of that process, it's pretty unbelievable, pretty tremendous. I'm psyched for the movie. That's a very positive update from the co-writer. Not that he's going to say anything bad about it, but I'm excited to hear it's starting to shoot next year because it's supposed to come out in fall of 2026 as of right now. So that gives them enough time to make it and make it look as good as the first one looks. Because goddamn, Steve, that's just my favorite Batman movie, and I know it's 3 hours long, and I watch it over and over again. If I don't have anything to watch and I need it's like a comfort movie for me at this point. Just put it on. I just love looking at it. Love looking at it.
I like how anyone who's listened to the pod for long enough has seen your evolution on this of yeah, that's good. It's a good movie. I really like that movie. That's probably right near the top of my movies. This is my favorite Batman movie. It's just been a progression that's been over time, been awesome to see.
Thank you. I think I liked it a lot when I first saw it.
You did.
I never disliked it.
No, but it's gradually increased and increased in your sheer love of it.
True. Yep. Yeah, because for a while I was like, oh, I can't possibly put this over Dark Knight, or I can't possibly put this over the original Keaton Nicholson Batman. Those movies are so close to my heart. And then the more I watched it, I was just like, no, that's fine. I like this one more. This one's better. This is my favorite. So I can put it anywhere I want. That's my opinion, goddammit. Yeah, very excited about this.
Well, you mentioned Keaton. We do have Daniel in the chat is talking about there's hope that Keaton could reprise his role again. In
what?
He said there's rumors that he could be in Brave and the Bold, which would be, I don't know if we're dipping back into those, but
I have not heard those rumors, so I don't know where they're coming from. But no offense, I highly doubt that's going to happen. I think he is done. I think if The Flash had been a big hit, then we definitely would have seen more of Michael Keaton. But I think because it wasn't, I think that they are going to try to distance themselves from that and probably from any real multiverse stuff for a long time, possibly ever. Not only because of The Flash, but also because they're probably seeing how it's going for Marvel in the multiverse of things. It's not necessarily, checking every box that fans are looking for. So
yeah, right now, Everything Everywhere All at Once is the only multiverse movie that's actually worked.
Well, does Deadpool and Wolverine count? Because that movie's great.
Oh yeah, that one does work. Damn it.
Yeah, it's just fun. The movie's fun. But thanks for being in the chat.
Does that
by
work?
the way?
Does that work? Did we have a like half-hour love session we talked about that movie like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, we did. I don't. I guess I'm. You've seen it twice. I've only seen it once,
Yes.
and so I'm like
Waiting to make sure it
Monday-
holds up.
I'm like Monday morning quarterbacking my own opinions on Deadpool and Wolverine because I
Yeah.
need to see. I think I need to see it again. So
Fair enough.
and
Fair
I
enough.
will, and I will, and I will because I liked it very much the first time. I mean, I've seen No Way Home more than once, and the movie I don't particularly care for. And I seem to find any possible reason to say that on this podcast.
You do mention
should.
that a lot.
I should let sleeping dogs lie. Everyone knows. Who cares? Another James Gunn DC related thing. James Gunn is hinting some DCU casting. Not for any particular role, not for any particular movie, but on Threads this past week, James Gunn was asked if any of the actors from Guardians of the Galaxy, 3 movies that he directed for Marvel, will any of the actors from the Guardians of the Galaxy be appearing in the DCU? And James Gunn, who is no stranger to just debunking something or saying no, did not give us a very straightforward answer. He replied with this: well, that would be a spoiler, wouldn't it? That tells me, and tells, I think, everyone who read that, yeah, there's somebody from Guardians of the Galaxy that's going to show up in the DCU. We just haven't announced it yet. Steve, who do you think and or who do you want to show up in the DCU? And you don't have to, I'm not even going to ask you to cast them as a character, but what actor from Guardians of the Galaxy do you think could show up or will show up, or do you want to show up in the DCU?
Well, it's a trick question because they specified. Did they specify one of the Guardians, or did they specify from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies?
I believe the question was any of the actors from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay,
so that you can interpret that any way you want. I don't think it was that specific.
Right. So inherently, he can answer like that, and it's his brother's going to be in it. His brother's going to be in it.
That is true. He's already
Michael
been cast
Rooker.
as Maxwell Lord.
Right.
Well,
Michael,
the brother's been cast.
Right.
That's announced.
And then like Michael Rooker's in everything that he does. Like there's going to be plenty of actors that were in the Guardians movies that will be in the DCU. The more pertinent question would be of the main cast. Like, although that kind of narrows it down because one's a raccoon and one's a tree.
Well,
so like
my pick would be Bradley Cooper. I would love to see Bradley Cooper in the DCU.
That would be, it'd be cool. Like I don't know. I don't know what Bradley Cooper's doing nowadays. Like, has he had something in a while? Like, he's kind of taking a little hiatus, isn't he?
I mean, he was in caught some awards heat. It was about Leonard Bernstein.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but I think unless you're somebody, like Leonardo DiCaprio, that's like, I'll never do a superhero movie or whatever, or never do it. Unless you're that, which clearly Bradley Cooper is not, because he has done 3.
Right.
But only as a voice. He doesn't have Guardians anymore. So I can see Bradley Cooper being like, I need a franchise. I need something.
I need that paycheck.
So yeah, exactly. And I feel like Chris Pratt is so connected to a number of franchises that he'll be fine. He doesn't need another one. Does he want another one? Sure.
What I would
Zoe Saldana can do anything she wants to do. She's incredible. So yeah, give her something for sure. But
I think we will see Dave Bautista.
I think so.
That
too.
would have been my guess of the main cast, just because it seemed, I want to say I've seen a couple articles mentioning that Gunn really enjoyed working with him and that sort of thing. So wouldn't be surprised if he was the one that showed up. Yeah. I'm saying I think it's likely Bautista, Pratt. I think those are the 2 most likely. My preference would be Bradley Cooper. Yep.
And Zoe Saldana, because again, she's excellent in everything that she does. So, but we shall see as time rolls on. We shall see. Man, we're getting through these faster than I expected to, but who knows? Who knows? Got a Marvel story for you.
Really?
Yeah. And this is something I didn't know until I went to gather news reports to do this story. James Spader will be returning as Ultron. That's right. Voice and motion capture actor for the villain of Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie. This is according to The Hollywood Reporter. Spader will be playing Ultron in Marvel's still untitled Vision series. Used to be called Vision Quest, not the official title, but a clever one. It's currently in development for Disney Plus with Terry Matalas as a showrunner. Paul Bettany will also return as Vision. Steve,
if he didn't, that'd be a little rough.
It'd be very strange indeed.
Let's do this focus show on Vision without the one actor that's ever played him that is also very synonymous with the character.
Yes, yeah. What do you think about the return of Ultron? James Spader coming back as Ultron. What do you think?
If they write him better and do him justice, I think it's probably a strong maneuver. Since, the way, especially in continuity, they establish the connection between Ultron and Vision and how in the MCU they are ultimately connected. I think it makes sense, at least. Ultron historically effectively can't die. He just kind of gets dispersed and then comes back inevitably because he's a bad guy in Marvel. But it seems like it's a strong premise, strong ties. Even if it's a flashback, who the hell knows? Like, there's no real. It doesn't say to what degree he's coming back, but it just states that he's coming back.
Right. I think this is like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, the MCU, used to, now it catches a little flack for a lot of things now, but one of the only things during phase 1 and 2 and 3 that it used to catch flack for is forgettable villains, or villains that aren't really like developed. And that's why when we got somebody like Killmonger or eventually Thanos or even Vulture from No Way Home, Adrian Coombs, people were like, whoa, yeah, no, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. They're really, Loki. Can't not say Loki also.
No, but
Loki had like
took a while
movies
to get
of development.
Yeah.
So when you have Ultron seemingly died at the end of Age of Ultron, but we all know how easy that is for a character like Ultron to be like, oh, he's alive again. He found some corner of some whatever computer and was able to attach himself to it.
Right.
Like, super easy to write that he's still alive. Makes sense that he'd still be alive. And for a villain and a character that is such a foil to the Avengers in the comics, and like the ties that he has as a villain to them, like he's one of their biggest bad guys. So it makes perfect sense that he should come back. If not just in this series, then I feel like they should figure out how to bring him back into an Avengers movie. Like I don't know.
Sure
do
they
work,
will.
Marvel. Make it work. I hope they do.
Well, especially if he, if everything goes well with this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Although we don't really have a timeline. Like this one, one kind of dropped off the timeline. Like we're not even seeing anytime they announce what's upcoming. Even though we keep getting bits and pieces of this show, there's really not been a whole lot of hype or anything around.
But I remember the rumors about Vision Quest popping up like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like when you and I first started this podcast, we talked about.
It was kind of right after WandaVision, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, there was an Agatha show rumored and, came out around the same time as they were like developing Wonder Man or the kidnapping Ironheart or whatever, and they're doing a Vision Quest series. And even then, that was like had less details than all the other ones they were announcing, but it only in recent months have we gotten those snippets of information on Vision series. And this is a big one, but to me, like I said, to me, it's a no-brainer to bring him back. And I'm someone that I don't hate Age of Ultron. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of people have problems with that movie. And it's certainly not a perfect movie. And, the way Ultron is portrayed, it's not super comic accurate. But
no, but Spader is just Spader.
I like Spader as that character quite a bit. And I like that movie quite a bit. So I'm down with this, especially like you said, because of his connection to Vision, which I think is super cool. It's one of the reasons I like that movie so much. It like really makes sense as to how Vision is created and why he's created and like why he's there. Like, makes tons of sense. So I'm down for this. They're saying that this series is like the third in a trilogy of series, starting with WandaVision, the second part being Agatha, and the third part being this Vision Quest series. I mean, I guess we don't know how much Agatha is going to tie into the character of Vision. I think it's easier to tie into Wanda than it would be to Vision, but we will see. Just in a couple months, we'll see how it works as a sequel to WandaVision. Like, it's based on the same character. A main character from WandaVision is the lead character in the show. So sure, but can you really call it a sequel? I don't know. If it doesn't have direct ties, who knows? And then this will be the third part. But yeah, no word on how far along in development they are, or if they're going to be shooting, or what the release schedule is, or anything like that. So
no, and that's, like I said, we haven't heard hide nor hair of this thing in years, it feels like.
Yeah.
Although, no, we did hear a couple months ago, we heard that it was no longer going to be referred to as Vision Quest.
Yeah, I think that's where we heard that the showrunner, Terry Matalas, was on, and that it was in active development. I think this is the second story that we've heard about it since they were like, oh yeah, by the way, we are doing this, and this is,
by the way, this is still a thing.
Yeah, don't forget about this. But I mean, maybe it's because they don't have a title yet, but it isn't something that has been announced at any Comic-Cons or D23s or anything like that. It hasn't been really discussed to my knowledge. Anyway, I haven't seen anything about it. There's no logo, there's no title, so how far along can they be? I don't know.
I would assume not very.
Not very. I think that's all the main stories we got. We can talk comics for a little bit. Before I don't have a review. Do you have a review?
I did have Black Panther versus Predator.
Whoa, cool.
Which was Ben Percy of Wolverine writing fame. Which I'm trying to unbury from. So, Chris Allen on the art. As you can imagine, it is Predator and dope. Black Panther. Like, we see planets of predators. Has Wakanda become prey, I believe is the tagline.
I'm just putting this together. Like I said, it was cool immediately, and then I'm realizing why it's so cool is that the first Predator movie takes place in a jungle.
Yeah.
And Black Panther lives in a jungle nation. So like that's perfect. You get like not only it's like a perfect match because it's not only T'Challa in his natural habitat, it's also Predator in familiar Predator setting as well. So that's really cool. That's a good match.
Yeah, and it definitely hit better than the original. Like I read the first issue of Predator versus Wolverine. I feel like it hit better than that. And that was fine. It's probably well worth picking up if you're interested in it. The art's nice. You're not looking for a compelling story with Predator versus Black Panther. You're
you're just looking for a cool
art of those two going at it. And you get that. So yeah, I don't know where the rest of the series will go, but the compelling start.
What else do you need, people? What else do you need? That could also be almost be. I'm surprised that that's a series. I feel like that should just be like a one shot. Like just give
Yeah.
us like a one shot cool fight between these two
Same.
characters. Don't give me
That's-
any setup. Just start like a video game. Start with the two of them on either side of a panel, and they just start fighting. I didn't even know why. That's
Yeah.
fine.
No,
Yeah.
that kind of surprised me that it wasn't, but whatever.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are. Steve, have you seen the design for a new series? DC is getting ready to launch their Absolute comic series, which is basically kind of like their version of the Ultimate Marvel Ultimate series, where you can start reading a Batman book or a Superman book without knowing anything or needing to know anything. Have you seen this design for Absolute Batman? chance?
No. Should I have?
You should look it up. I would like your opinion on it.
Absolute Batman.
Being written by Scott Snyder, who is no slouch in the world of Batman.
Jesus, did Rob
definitely.
Liefeld write him or draw him?
Right? He's like the beefiest, biggest.
That looks like
right out of the 90s.
That looks like the Liefeld cap, with the giant barrel chest.
Steve, I saw someone make that exact comparison on Threads today. That exact comparison. But
He's
yes,
even got pouches. He's even got pouches, guys. What are we doing?
Yeah, it looks like they're like, let's take the most extreme 90s design and make it Batman. I am not a fan of it.
The
I've
Jim
seen
Lee cover. The Jim Lee cover's got pouches. What are we doing, people?
Yeah. I'm not a fan of it. I've seen people that do like it quite a bit, and great. I'm glad that you like it, and I hope the series is good. Again, Scott Snyder. As I think I've said this on the podcast before, but Scott Snyder, I think, has some of my favorite Batman stories when he's just writing straight up Batman. But then he gets in these like either alternate futures or alternate reality versions of Batman. He got really caught up in like death metal and all this kind of stuff that just was too far out there for me. And this, based on the design alone, kind of seems like it's not something I'll really be into. Who knows? I know they're doing a Superman and a Wonder Woman at least also, so we'll see. I think those just look more like Superman and Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has a gigantic sword, which I think is cool. Like taller than her sword.
Yeah, and that's it. It's a very Norse Wonder Woman.
Yes. Yeah, and that
again,
I'm into.
That's the Jim Lee variant cover, so who knows what the actual one is going to look like, but yeah, right. I mean, that seems cool.
Yeah. But the Batman one is like just, I don't know, like picture Cable, 90s Cable squeezed into a Batman suit.
Yep,
I feel 100%. Like, or like
that is the most accurate way you could describe that.
Yeah. Weird and wacky and wild. This week at your local comic book store, you may find the following books: Absolute Power Origins #2, Aliens versus Avengers #1. Speaking about weird team-ups.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man #56, Batman Dark Age #5, Batman Brave and the Bold #16, Biker Mice from Mars #2, Captain America 12, Cult of the Lamb 3, Deadpool Team Up #1, Detective Comics #1088, Fantastic Four 24, Flash #12, Flash Gordon #2, Gotham City Sirens #4, Green Arrow #15, Hello Darkness #2, Incredible Hulk Annual #1, John Constantine Hellblazer Dead in America #8, Marvel 85th Anniversary Special #1, Nice House by the Sea #2, NYX #2, Power Girl #12, Saga #68. I feel like I haven't seen anything from Saga in a long time.
They just started a couple months ago coming back.
They started back up? Okay,
yep.
Yeah. I guess I didn't know that there was another hiatus until I saw Saga on this list. I was like, oh yeah, what happened to that?
Wait a minute.
Something I probably won't buy, but I'm excited that it exists. Sesame Street #1 is coming out this week. The total and tonal opposite of that, Something is Killing the Children #40, also coming out this week. Star Wars Ahsoka #2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Black, White, and Green +4, The Rocketeer Breaks Free #2, Ultimate X-Men #6, Universal Monsters Frankenstein #1, plus X-Force #2, X-Men #3, Zatanna Bringing Down the House #3, and DC's 0 Hour 30th Anniversary Special number 1. Huge week
It does
for
seem
comics.
like
There
quite
was
the week.
a bunch that I could have written down and didn't write down from the weekly list. So I'm definitely grabbing Zatanna. I'll probably grab Frankenstein, number 1. I love the Universal monsters, and he's my guy. Big fan of the Frankenstein monster. Dark Age, number 5, Batman Dark Age. Definitely got to keep going with that. I haven't read number 4 yet, but I'll pick up number 5. That might be all that I get. Although I am happy that Sesame Street number 1 exists. I don't really even know why. And I'm not sure what that book is even going to be, but that's cool that there's a Sesame Street comic book.
Yeah. No, I don't know why that's as awesome as it is.
Yeah.
Something is coming to children. I think I sent you earlier this week. Iman Vellani, Ms. Marvel herself, last week had an appearance at Fan Expo Canada in her hometown of Toronto, and showed up dressed as what's her name? Erica Slaughter from Something's Killing the Children, which was just an
very
awesome
cool
nod. So that was cool to see. I can't comprehend that X-Men 3 is already coming out.
Right. Yeah.
So, and X-Force 2 and NYX 2 and
Ultimate X-Men, a lot of big X week.
Big X week. Because, everything's a big X week lately. Yeah. So Zatanna bringing down the house, I'm going to have to get as well.
It's so good.
Yeah, it really is that
First 2 have been so good. There's only 5 issues, so it shouldn't be long. Hopefully it won't be long until we get like a collected edition of it, or it'll get extended. That would be cool too.
Right.
But,
well, that's why I figured I'd keep grabbing it. I was like, there's only 5. Like, there's an end in sight. It's not like I'm gonna be.
Yeah, it's not like you're signing up for
all the X stuff. Like I have shit.
Yeah, or like how I am still getting Poison Ivy, even though when I started collecting it, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a great 6-issue miniseries. Oh no,
and then it's
now
like,
12.
they extended it to 12.
Now it's ongoing. Yeah.
Yeah, funny how that happens.
Yep, it happens when it's good. Happens when good things.
Yeah, but stop it and move to a different one. That'd make too much sense.
Bro, I know.
So before we hit the one-shots, last week at the con,
I thought that's what you were doing. I saw you counting stuff this whole time. I saw you putting things in different piles. I was like, oh, he's doing the AnchorCon questions.
Yep. So about half of the AnchorCon questions we have completed at this point. I was finishing up the Doctor Who one while we were talking.
Cool.
So I guess we'll go.
Well, some of these, I'll say some of these were repeats of ones that we did at Syracuse Collectors Con. So if you listen to that episode or were at Syracuse Collectors Con, you may remember some of these questions, but some of them were also new for AnchorCon. So we're not crazy. We know that we've repeated them.
Correct. And we just wanted a different sample.
Exactly.
So the 6 that we had, I guess it was 5.5 because it was more, as we mentioned, it was a little more con than comic. So there were very minimal answers to the Mount Rushmore of comic creators, which also people don't know Mount Rushmore apparently anymore because they would just put one answer.
You have 4 choices.
Right.
And that's a bummer because that's a great question, and I hope to get some more answers for that next time we're at a con that's maybe a little more comic focused. But
so I think we probably got like 10 or 12 answers for that.
By the way, I just want to be clear. I loved AnchorCon. I thought it was great.
Oh, it was awesome.
And just because there wasn't a lot of comics there, still had a blast, and it was a great time, and I hope to be back next year.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, let's proceed.
And anyone who's up in the North Country or within drivable distance, go check it out because it was a boatload of fun. Literally, if you want to take the cruise.
That's true.
So the questions we asked were the ones from the last con that we had done, which were your favorite Doctor, your favorite Star Trek series, your favorite Batman, whether you're more excited for Superman or the Fantastic Four. We also added the Mount Rushmore of comics, which we talked about
comic creators.
Of comic creators. And then a choose your own adventure of pick your best X-Men team, make a 3-man team.
That was a real popular question.
It was, and spurned a lot of great conversation over the course of the weekend.
How do you even tally that, though?
I haven't yet. That's why.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to
That's like
figure that out in my head.
that's a tough one to tally. Yeah. Okay.
So the ones that were done were Who, Superman, Fantastic Four, and Star Trek. So Who, Tenet, of course, walked away with it, but one thing that we noticed, also, who's your best Batman, or who's your favorite Batman? I don't know if I mentioned that.
You asking? You did, yeah. You did.
Okay. So something we'll see in those answers as well as what we saw here. Tenet had 27 votes. You know who number 2 was?
Not Matt Smith?
With 12 votes?
Oh, no.
Tom
Wait.
Baker.
Really? Tom
Yeah.
Baker?
Which coincides with other theories that we've had.
Wow, you're right. I know what you're sorry, go ahead.
So then Matt Smith with 2, Capaldi with 2, Whitaker with 1, and Judy Gatwa with 1. So the North Country apparently likes the classics. So
Yeah.
Tom Baker, very surprised second favorite of all of our entrants in that category. For Star Trek, the original series got 9.
Really?
Yeah. Down here, I think it was Next Generation, Deep Space Nine,
It was
Voyager, all kind of up there. Next Generation, I think, won it, right?
Yeah, I don't think original series was in the top 3
Right.
down here. So, wow.
So original series at 9, Voyager and TNG at 2, Deep Space Nine and Discovery at 1. So, definitely a nod to the classics up north.
Yeah.
And we'll next week, after we tally the Batman, I think we will have a full-blown theory going.
Yeah. That's what I thought you were building to, was the love for Adam West that we found at AngerCon.
100%.
Man.
There was a lot of West, and we'll find out the
A lot
number.
of West votes, yeah.
He may have actually won it.
Wow.
So we'll see. I got to get the final numbers before I want to throw it out on the pod. But
yeah.
In other things that will surprise Mr. Gibson, the Superman versus Fantastic Four. Who do you think, or which do you think people would have chosen?
Oh, I don't know. This one, I feel like, I don't know that I'm going to be surprised, because I feel like I heard a ton of people talk about both.
Yeah.
So,
well, actually, sure. I guess day one, I think we would have, if we'd have left after day one, I think Superman was probably the runaway winner. A lot of Fantastic Four day 2. Ultimately, Fantastic Four with 41, Superman with 30.
Oh, wow. Sizable lead.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
So, I don't know.
I still think
we did have a lot of, I don't know. There's been a lot of problems with both of these in the past.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's accurate.
So
accurate.
Yeah.
Quick side note. I still think that Fantastic Four is going to move. I don't think they're going to keep that date.
If it does, I don't see it shuffling too much, because they're pushing it hard.
Yeah. But also, I think it's possible. That if Marvel, okay, because we talked about this recently, but at the end of July, James Gunn announced that Superman had finished filming. And in late July, Marvel announced that Fantastic Four was starting to film. They had just begun filming in late July. They're both coming out the same month. And so this is what we talked about. This points to Marvel doing their classic, hey, VFX houses, we're going to work you to the bone and make probably a bunch of changes along the way. But then also, James Gunn has a year to do all the visual effects and take his time, make sure it looks good. And, you can point to a lot of recent Marvel movies as having lackluster VFX. One of the movies you cannot point to as having lackluster VFX is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
True.
Or any of those movies, because the man takes his time to get things right. So I think if they don't move, I think it's a possibility that Superman might look way better than Fantastic Four. And they might be doing themselves a disservice putting them too close to Superman in that case. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
Sorry, that's just me talking a lot. What's your next thing?
That's the only ones I had tallied at this point.
Oh, that's the only one that you had tallied. Okay, yeah.
Yep,
okay.
3 out of the 6 got tallied. So
I will be interested to see the X-Men one. You should probably just do like just the top votes.
Yeah, that's
of
what I
X-Men.
was planning on.
Yeah,
We did
not
allow
the- yeah.
write-ins for Deadpool, so there is that.
Yeah, I think, and I believe there was plenty of Deadpool talk at AnchorCon.
Actually, the top one right here.
Yeah, perfect.
Was Wolverine, Colossus, and Deadpool.
That's a pretty good team.
Yeah,
I gotta say, pretty good team.
So,
Unless going up against Magneto, then it's a
oh yeah, you're kind of screwed there.
pretty terrible team.
Hi, all metal.
Yeah.
The second one was literally just Colossus. I don't know if that works.
He's a one-man team. That's all you need.
The one after that was just Beast. So people are bad at instructions, it seems. Okay, more to come on that.
More to come on that. We got a couple one-shots for you to wrap this thing up. I feel like we haven't had one-shots in a while. It has been a while. And there's 3. I'm going to take this first one. Certainly not a ton to talk about here, but we got the first official photo of Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, as he will be portrayed by Skylar Gisondo. That's how you say that name. James Gunn posted the photo of Gisondo in costume as Jimmy, celebrate the character's anniversary, which I believe was yesterday. And it just looked like this actor waving, giving a thumbs up in like a little jacket. You know, just looked like a guy that probably works at a newspaper called The Day of the Planet.
Yeah.
Does it. It's nothing really to write home about, but cool. Cool that they posted it, I guess. So that's all that is. So check it out on Threads if you want to see what Jimmy Olsen's going to look like.
Yep. Well, in the really weird news category, former Blade director Jan Dimanche reportedly is still attached to the film. He was the project's second director after Basim Tariq. No word on how involved Dimanche remains with Blade. More to come on this at some point. Like, what?
Do you think it's possible that they just haven't like officially removed his name from whatever database that they need to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
It might have been like, but
they're probably just like, I don't want to go in now and remove going again and put in a new name.
We'll just wait and do it all at once.
Yeah, I never remember the password to that thing. I can't log in. I don't want to. Gonna do it one time. I don't know, or they're coaxing him back somehow. Maybe they're like, please, please, we need you to come back. But yeah, like you said, time will tell there. Last one shot, last story of the night is that we got the trailer for a adjacent superhero film, a movie called Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story. It's a documentary film about the man's life, his role in getting Superman, and also becoming a paraplegic after a tragic horseback riding accident left him paralyzed from the neck down. It's a Fathom event. It's not a wide release film. It's going to be in theaters on September 21st and September 25th. That's it. So, you know, book your time, mark your calendars, get your tickets. Steve, did you get a chance to watch this trailer?
I did not.
I did. It made me emotional watching it. And not like nerdy, I love Superman so much emotional, but just like
human
the
emotional.
The back half of the trailer is all like, yeah, and then he couldn't do anything at all anymore. You know,
Right.
like interviews with his kids talking about how it changed and how they felt about it, and just it like wrecked me in a way that I was like, I need to see this movie. It just seems like a very inspirational, incredible story. And like, you know, that if you know anything about Reeve, you know that he was an inspirational person, especially like the work that he did after he had his accident.
Right.
Not to mention, you know, the first incarnation of Superman. He's still a lot of people's number one Superman, you know. So all of that together, I was just like, whoa, this is this is pulling on them heartstrings more than I expected it to. So, I don't know if I'm able to see it on those 2 days, but I will definitely be catching this at some point when it's available to download or stream or buy or whatever. So yeah, check it out. Super/Man, Christopher Reeve story.
Nice.
Nice.
I definitely will be checking that out as well.
Cool.
Though not on the 21st, because that's my birthday. And
oh yeah, hey.
As much as I would like to see this, I don't think that's going to be
it's not what you're going to be doing.
Happenings on that day.
Yeah. Happy birthday next month.
Sweet. Thanks.
Now I don't have to say it. I already said it now.
You
I don't
did.
have to say it then.
You nailed it.
You can't be mad at me.
Absolutely.
You can't be like, why didn't Mike say happy birthday? Is that it? Is there anything else we need to talk about? There's no like shows or whatever. We already talked about Romulus early on. I haven't really.
And Rings of Power is not back yet.
But it will be this week.
Yep.
Yeah, I just did Umbrella Academy season 4 dropped on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I didn't see anything about it, but I'm gonna watch it. Rings of Power starts this week, and there was one other thing that's Only Murders in the Building, which is not a nerdy thing, but it's a great show. The season 4 of that I think starts this week as well.
I was gonna say I got some sports things that like are happening, but nothing in the nerd sphere.
Right. I'm still watching Kite Man. Hell yeah, that's funny.
Nice.
Good. It's gotten better. It's not as good as Harley.
Rough or...
What's that?
Start out a little rough, or
it didn't start out. It's not that it started out rough. Like it's been funny the whole time, but like Harley Quinn is a show that's very funny, but you also feel like an emotional attachment to her and to like other characters, Poison Ivy, stuff like that. Like Kite Man was like a joke side character in Harley Quinn. So it's kind of the classic, like, this is like, let's take this one good joke and tell it a million times. Kind of like you're giving a spin-off to a background character. Right. So it's funny, but it is, it's getting better now. It's funny, but like you don't have like an established emotional connection to that character necessarily. So that part is what's like kind of ramping up now. Like, I'm getting you're making me care about this guy now. Before he was just a joke. Now you're making me care about him. So it's working. It's getting there. Very funny. And I think that's it. I'm pumped about Rings of Power.
Yeah, it'll be good.
So yeah, hopefully. You still watching House of the Dragon, or have you fallen off? You fell off.
I fell off a while ago.
Yeah. Quality of the show is the reason for that, or is it just you're a busy guy?
I got a lot going on, but also like
you do have a lot going on.
It just didn't seem to compel me for whatever reason.
You're not the only person I've heard say that. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the Game of Thrones dragon is dead at HBO. I mean, they're doing enough. I feel like it's probably doing normal HBO show numbers.
Right.
But there's no way that it's doing Game of Thrones numbers. Like Game of Thrones was the most popular show in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for a long time while it was on.
Oh yeah, I mean that was like required watching.
Yeah.
To back in the day, to like show up for work on Monday morning, you had to have seen Game of Thrones on Sunday.
Yeah.
morning.
Right. Or you weren't talking to anybody.
Right.
You weren't checking your phone. So like I can see it feeling like it's less popular just because it's not a gargantuan success. It's not a runaway hit, but I'm sure I'm sure that it'll get a season 3 or whatever. I don't think it's on the chopping block by any means, but
right.
But you're not the first person I've heard say that it's a little bit lackluster. So we'll see what happens, and that's all I got.
Well, you know what could happen?
What could happen?
You could really help us out by liking and subscribing and leaving a review on your podcatcher of choice, or maybe watching us and leaving a comment or whatnot on YouTube, like Daniel or Brian in the chat.
Thank you, Daniel and Brian, for being in the chat, by the way.
So yeah,
hello and thank you.
Feel free to reach out to us on socials, however you feel like it. The Multiverse Report on any of the ones that we care about.
Instagram and Threads mostly, and I feel like I've been as referenced in the beginning of this episode. My summer has been crazy, And I feel like I have not been able to regularly post on either of those things. But school starts next week, people. So getting back into more of a routine, and hopefully we'll be a little more active on the socials. But yeah, follow us on those things, like Steve was saying.
There you go.
Please do. There we go. And so, as the two suns set over the burnt corpses of Owen and Beru Lars, we say thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.